Who am I? I'm Spider-Man.
Hello, Saints, and good afternoon. Good day, even. So, tonight, this week, you have just entertainment guru Mike Warner coming to you live from OFN Studios here in Woonsocket, Rhode Island, bringing you the recaps of the week. Tonight, we're going to start with the one Chicago show, Chicago Med. Here comes the recap. Alright, Saints. So as I mentioned, tonight, it's only going to be me on the line with you guys, on the air, on the studio, recording. Our very own TiVoMike took a much-needed vacation to visit some family and just get away for a little while. So, enjoy TiVoMike. I hope you have an amazing week while you're away. We'll get started here. Just as a snake sheds its skin, Chicago Med. Guys, it was a phenomenal episode. I don't know what I loved everything the episode had to bring. So give me a second here. I'm going to pull up the synopsis and then we'll get started. Alright. Not going to lie, I was a little upset to find out that tonight's episode was going to be the season finale. So I was a little disturbed because I was like, wait, what? But let's not be greedy. They haven't taken a break at all since the show has returned for this fall season. So I guess it was only a matter of time before they actually took a break. Right? So, good job, Dick Wolf, in keeping us here and staying with us all the way through. Let's get this recap going. Just as a snake sheds its skin. Alright? Scott's loyalty to Med and Police Department is challenged. The annual random drug testing puts a doctor's career in jeopardy. Choi tries a risky old-school method on a patient, and Halstead helps Hammer search for her mother. Let's get started. So, as we ended last week, we noticed that Dr. Blake had a little extra interest in Dr. Marcel. She gave him a little crap about not coming to a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity and stuff like that, and pretty much let him know, like, this next role, this next opportunity that he's ready to embark on is going to require sacrifice, whether he wants to admit it or not. So we left off with that. Now we start out tonight's episode. Dr. Scott met his father for drinks and happened to avert a bar fight between a patron and a family friend, Uncle Joe. He was bent about a demotion at the precinct. So Uncle Joe got demoted, so he's very upset. So Scott took Joe to the hospital to treat his wound and had a chat about Joe's recent fallout with the department. He recommended, like nobody else, speak to Dr. Charles. If anything, he'll just give you someone to talk to. No one who's reporting back to the department, but, someone to help you get some steam off. So he was a little reluctant at first to speak with him, but then he thought, I'll meet with him. And Uncle Joe said, all right, let's talk to Charles. Immediately after speaking to Charles, though, he automatically started requesting meds. So I already knew this was going to be an issue because he thought, just give me some meds and this will fix and take care of the situation. Guys, we know Dr. Charles. That is not Dr. Charles' style at all. So when Uncle Joe realized that, Dr. Charles was not going to give him the meds. He left pretty mad, pretty forcibly. But that put Charles in a very difficult place because now Charles had to determine, do I report the empty threats to the superiors at the 1PP or whatever it's called, Chicago PD headquarters, to let them know about this cop and his deranged attitude and his targeted attitude, or do I just let it go? So he consulted with Goodwin, and he wanted to forcibly admit that Joe would be caused strain between him and Scott. And as predicted, Scott was irate. Oh man, Dylan. I've never seen Dr. Dylan Scott so mad. But let's be real, Dr. Scott, you referred Uncle Joe to Charles. And I feel like you've been around long enough now and you've had enough interaction with Charles to know that if you refer someone to him, he's going to treat that person like a patient. So in treating him like a patient, it resulted in finding out that maybe, just maybe, we have to report some of the stuff that's going on, because apparently Uncle Joe was not all there, right? He was threatening the chief or his boss and crying allegations of being excluded and stuff like that just led it to be really bad. So Dylan, I understand you upset that Charles reported him, but I think deep down you knew he had to talk to Charles. And if you know he had to talk to Charles, then you know Charles is only going to do what's right. So I commend Charles, because it was a very hard situation to put himself into, and worrying about losing or breaking a relationship they had with Dr. Scott. We get to that whole point. They get mad at each other for like 5 seconds. Scott walks off. Can't find Uncle Joe. Lo and behold, he goes outside. Who's outside? Uncle Joe's car is outside, but Uncle Joe's not there. So you know now that Uncle Joe's at the hospital. Come to find out, Uncle Joe already has Dr. Charles wrapped up. He's already got him locked down. He's in his office. He's got him held with a box cutter, and it looks like it's gonna be bad for Dr. Charles. I truthfully thought, wow, y'all are really you're gonna take out Dr. Charles with a box cutter. Thankfully, it didn't get to that. Dr. Scott, a.k.a. Dylan Scott, one of my favorite actors on the show, Maggie Lockwood. He's really great, guys. He follows me on Twitter, TiVoMike84. He catches and notices that Uncle Joe's car is at the lot. So he runs back in, he's looking around, taps into those Chicago PD instincts, calls Uncle Scott's phone. It rings through Dr. Charles's door. He realizes, this could be going a completely different way than he intended. Breaks down the door in PD fashion, sees Uncle Joe, tackles Uncle Joe, puts him in a submission hold, gets him to submit, and says, you got to end this. And it was a great story, too, because it was very little. I like how they wrapped it up one episode. We didn't need to drag this out. We need to make it more. But the reality of Dr. Scott once being part of PD, now being part of Med, and kind of trying to really show where his loyalty was. His loyalty was definitely to Med and to Dr. Charles. A phenomenal storyline. I loved every second of it. It did have me a little nervous, but I was very happy to know that, it wasn't all there. Then, we get Dr. Choi pushing himself past this amazing defeat. So they got a client comes in, a patient comes in a car accident, must have hit the gear shift or something, causes a hernia in his stomach. First off, let me just tell you, this knot looked horrendous, guys. Like, what the hell was that? But they're trying to determine if the guy needs surgery or if not. Marcel saying to get him up to surgery. Choi thinks that they could do this risky surgery, this risky procedure that he's seen that is in place of surgery. Marcel doesn't think it's a good idea because it's going to put potentially Choi and the patient at risk, because now Choi is not going to be at his best given the circumstances. So Marcel makes the call to get him up to surgery. Choi then gets Archer involved. I don't know why. No one likes Archer, but he gets Archer involved. Archer agrees with Choi and says, let's not send him to surgery. Let's do it down here. So they do the little ice technique in trying to move the hernia. And Choi is doing it, but it requires a little bit more looseness, like in his body, and he's so stiff. So he takes off his brace to perform the rest of the procedure. And when he was doing it, it looked so phenomenal. It looked like Choi was in his element. He was back. He was performing. And then all of a sudden, he finishes and he walks away, and he's got this angst across his face. Like, like, I could feel his pain in that moment. Like, he was upset. He was sad because, like, he knew he had to do that procedure to prove his point, and he wants to show that he's ready to get back in there and be productive and operating and helping on the floor and the ED. But at the same time, he's just not ready. Choi, like, come on, take your time and heal. So Choi takes his brace off. He gets in there and finishes the rest of the procedure. Archer's watching over. They're going at it. He's watching it go. Everything's good, and all of a sudden, when Choi finishes, he's just got this pain across his face, and Marcel is genuinely concerned, and he's like, "Ethan, what's wrong? Tell me what's wrong." And he says, "Get me an MRI. I'm gonna need an MRI," is what he tells Dr. Marcel. So he goes to see Marcel. Marcel gets him hooked up for the MRI, and it turns out that Choi actually has to have an additional surgery that's going to set him back. So he's going to be gone for at least 2 months. Not what we want to hear as fans. We don't want to know Choi is not coming back. He just came back, but he pushed himself too hard too soon. Marcel was my favorite in this episode too, because he definitely made it a point to go up to Archer and he let him know, like, listen, you're in charge of the ED. Regardless of what the doctor thinks or the doctor says, you have to make those tough calls. And you should have made the call that Choi should not have been in the operating room. And instead, because of your personal relationship or whatever it is with Choi, you let Choi have his moment. And now you made the wrong call because now Choi is asking for an MRI because of the pain of what he endured with taking the brace off and completing the procedure to remove the hernia. It was a phenomenal episode. I don't think Dr. Archer is going to be around much longer. Maybe 3 more episodes when we return. And if he's in there past 3, it'll be like, moonwalk scenes. Just enough to be in there and say he's there until Choi comes back. So we'll see with that. Another big storyline in tonight's episode was the randomized drug test, right? So we all know, as fans, Vanessa's been taking Adderall or something to kind of help keep her going and keep her running. So Sharon comes in. This is what we call her moonwalk scene. She comes in long enough to say, hey, listen, guys, we're conducting some random drug tests. Maggie's going to be in charge of the testing. I'll see you guys later. And she kind of bounces back. As they're announcing this, you can see Dr. Vanessa Taylor getting all panicky and not sure what's going on. So now she's trying to figure out what she can do to get the drugs out of her system, because it's not like marijuana, but they're checking for all drugs. So they're going to see the Adderall or whatever Adderall comes up as on your talk screen. It's going to show up. So she goes to the bathroom, tries to throw it up. Maggie hears her in there. She tries to play it off like she was sick. Then she starts to have a panic attack because she's freaking out. She confesses to Maggie that she did take some Adderall to kind of help her, stay awake. Maggie does what we all know Maggie to be. She's a mother. She maternally, even if it wasn't Vanessa, her biological daughter, she always takes on that protective role. So what does she do? She says, hey, listen, drink a lot of water. I'll push your test back a little bit, give you time to let that kind of flush your system. Hopefully, it won't show up as strong. She gives an off-the-record drug test to kind of see where it was. It comes back positive. Maggie gave her another drug to dilute her urine, which I was very, very shocked about. I truthfully thought, I'm happy she gave her a drug to dilute her urine and not Maggie choosing to provide the urine for her, because I thought with her being the mom and just doing what Maggie does, that's what she was going to do. So I was very happy that she said, no, just take this and, don't apologize and don't tell me all these things if you don't genuinely mean that you're going to change and stop using it. Vanessa assures her that it was just a one-time opportunity to kind of get ahead in the game, and she's going to not do it going forward. And she overly thanks Maggie for coming to her rescue and providing the drug that dilutes the urine. So I hope that Vanessa's telling the truth. I hope she's not just saying what she needed to say to get what she needed. Then we got Dr. Hammer finally talking to somebody about what's going on with her mom, and she talks to Halstead about her mom leaving, having been searching for her. He offered to help her find her. They knew where they should try to buy drugs to ease the pain. They go to a drug house, or trap house, whatever you want to call it. It's a little girl there. Couldn't have been more than 11 or 12 years old, but Stevie really connected with her, and I think Stevie connected with her because of her own stuff and what she was going through, or what she went through at that age with her mom. So they called the cops or whatever. The cops come, and the little girl tries to leave with the mom, and they hold her back, and they end up calling Child Protective Services because, let's be real, the parents were high, strung out, and left this little girl sitting in a trap house. Or crack house, whatever you want to call it, which is very unlike, you know what I mean? So I like that Stevie stepped up. I know the girl is going to be very mad. Her parents didn't seem to care. They were mad for like a second. And then finally the boyfriend's like, we need to get out of here. And they left the daughter there. So a little gut-wrenching, you know. They always try to pull those heartstrings there, man. But it was worth it. It was good. I liked it. You got to see a little more Stevie's understanding and why she's so strong with her mom. Finally, Sharon calls off the watch of Cooper. Cooper had a stroke because of all the cocaine and tequila. Halstead took his dead end to Goodwin, who put the brakes on the intel gathering operation, as it caused her stress levels to elevate. So her own levels were elevated, and she couldn't maintain her glucose the way they wanted it. So they're worried about her diabetes status. So we got to end to the Cooper Vascom investigation for now. I truthfully don't think it's over. I think we got more to come, and I think it's just kind of taking a back seat, getting ready for the break. Choi tells Goodwin he decided to have a spinal fusion that will take him out of the ED for a few months. Again, I touched on that. I'm very sad. He just came back. But it's a lot on him, and the best opportunity for an actual return, a permanent return, is the spinal fusion. So we're going to not see Choi probably for at least a month, given that they picked a great time to do that, because they did that for the finale. So we got already 3.5 weeks before they come back. Then they're going to come back we got them for the break. Then December 8th, I believe, is going to be the season finale for the winter. So it's perfect. We're going to lose 3 weeks, come back for an episode, and then be going until at least January, probably 14th, like it normally is. So that will give Choi the few months, essentially, at least 2 months out where he could be back, and the surgery was a good success. We'll find out. Maybe they'll kill him on the table, and he's leaving the show. Who knows? Let me see here. We get the the conclusion of the episode. Terry, Stevie's mom, rolls back up and apologizes for stealing the necklace or the bracelet or whatever it was, and offers to give Stevie the change. But she just had to get back on the road again, and that, this is what she felt she needed to do. She had the itch. This time, finally, Stevie taking Dr. Charles' advice, Stevie lets her go. And doesn't guilt her into staying, but also doesn't make it a big deal that she doesn't want to stay. So you got a nice conclusion of Stevie understanding that this is what her mom wants, this is what her mom needs. So she let her go, and then we got the nice break. They won't be back until December 8th, so we got a little time off. So also please be sure to like us, subscribe us, and comment, and leave us comments there in the bottom section. We're on YouTube, wherever you can find podcasts. I'm EGMike84 on Twitter. Also, just like us, guys. Come on, subscribe to us. Let us know how we're doing. Give us feedback. We want to do what's here. We're here for you, so tell us what you want to hear. Let us know how you feel about our recaps and what we can do to make them better. Thank you. Have a good night. In the words of Mrs. Doubtfire, bye-bye. The TiVoMike Show is produced by Michael Jefferson. Our soundboard operator is Mike Warner. And our theme music is by Eric Dano. A special thanks to all those who make it so we can be here. And to you, our great listeners. That is it for the TiVoMike Show. I'm Mike Warner. See you tomorrow when we guide the lost TV viewing saints through the myriad of banal TV shows amongst the low-hanging fruit to find the next great addictive series. Good night, saints.